Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kenny. Thank you for coming to see my video blog. I'm going to make a very short, 5 minutes to 10 minutes, mini video blogs from now on so that you can improve your presentation skills. Yes, the purpose of this video program is for you to improve your business presentation skills, storytelling, okay? So my first question is, if you could master presentation skills completely, what great things happen in your life? This is a very important question, okay? The answer to that question is, if you can improve your presentation skills, you will also improve the value of your professional value or personal value in your life. And if you can improve your professional value and personal value, what happens? You are most likely to get success in your life, okay? That's why I really recommend you master presentation skills, all right? And so what is a presentation skill after all? I'd like to use an analogy. Presentation skill is exactly like a cooking skill, okay? So think about cooking. Do you know this cooking? This is a very typical Japanese cooking called nikujaga. It's the ingredient you see is the potatoes and carrots and the meat, right? And think about this cooking, all right? If you want to cook this dish or whatever the dish you want to cook, what is the step? Okay, step number one is you have to get ingredients, fresh ingredients such as potatoes and carrot meat, right? And some seasoning like a shoyu and a mirin, right? That's the first step. Because step number two is you're going to utilize your skills and knowledge of the cooking nikujaga. And if your skills and knowledge are very good, what happens? Step three, you'll be most likely to produce a very delicious nikujaga, just like this picture, right? Okay, this is a successful case. Think about this case. Okay, this case, step number one, you have no problem. You have gathered the fresh ingredients, potato and carrots meat, right? And but the problem is, step number two, you have never made a nikujaga before, right? You have no knowledge, you have no experience. But based upon your hunch, you do it anyway, right? What happens? Step number three, most likely you're not going to be successful producing nikujaga, great nikujaga. Taste may be too salty or too sweet. A potato is not cooked well, it's too hard, right? So what happens here? Because step number two, you don't have enough knowledge and experience, you were not successful. Same thing happens in the process of making presentation, okay? So what is the process for making presentation? Same process. Step number one, you need the ingredients. What is that? That is the information, that is the knowledge, that is your experience, okay? But that's not enough. You have to cook it or you have to make it into the presentation. Then you comes to step number two. If you have a great presentation skills, right? Knowledge and skills, you are going to be successful making a great presentation, okay? How about this case? Step number one, no problem. You have great information, knowledge, right? However, step number two, you have a problem. You have never made a presentation. You have never learned how to make a good presentation. What happens in step number three? You're most likely to make a not very successful presentation. Okay, now let me use the mathematical formula, very, very simple mathematical formula to explain this. Let's suppose the total value of this ingredient is 1. Okay, so I want to use a number 1 as a value of the total ingredients, the value of the ingredients. By the way, this is myself. I attended the cooking school for the past 1 year. The cooking school is called ABC Cooking. And I made nikujaga just like in this picture. Okay, and I really learned, I was convinced that there is a very, very common thread between the cooking skills and the presentation skills. That's why I'm using this analogy. So getting back to my story again. So first one is the value of ingredients. And suppose your cooking skill is just average level, 1. So as a result, you will produce just average nikujaga. Not too delicious, not too bad, just okay. Okay. Case number 2, ingredient is okay, but your skill of cooking and knowledge is not enough. What happens? Okay, the result is not very delicious nikujaga because your skills and knowledge is not enough. You couldn't induce the real value of the ingredients. So as a result, you make a bad nikujaga. How about case 3? If your knowledge and skill is very good, you'll be very successful for producing great nikujaga. So what made a difference? Step number 2 made a difference. Okay, same thing can be said about making a presentation. Even if you have a great ingredients, great information, your great valuable knowledge and experience, if you can't cook it, your result is not going to be very good. But if you have through this the programs, if you can gain great knowledge, skills, and how to do it, you are most likely to produce a very, very impressive, very persuasive presentation. As a result, what happens? You can persuade your boss, you can persuade your clients, you can persuade your wife and husband. As a result, you can make a more successful life, professional life or private life, right? That's my point. That's why cooking skill and presentation skill has a very similar principles, all right? So what I learned from my cooking experience, there are 3 major factors for producing a great cooking. Number 1, you have to have a fresh, nutritious ingredients. That's the step number 1, okay? Regarding the presentation, you have to get the valuable information or valuable knowledge, valuable experience. That's a step number 1, first factor, okay? What is the second factor? What I learned to be successful in cooking, the second most important skill is the cutting skills, because you have to cut the ingredients into the right size so that your guests or family members can eat it, right? So what do I mean by this in the presentation skills? You have to be able to learn how to cut the whole presentation into the appropriate size and the appropriate orders. Think about good presentations. What is the characteristic? Characteristics of the good presentation is it has a clear structure, for example, conclusion first and 2 reasons, right? And coming back to the conclusion, an action plan. So good presentation is well divided, right? And good cooking, the cutting skill is very important. Number 3, the third most important skills for making a successful cooking is you have to know how to add a right taste. There are many different tastes like shoyu and sugars and vinegars. You have to know how much amount into what order. Okay, so that's a cooking technique. And what do I mean by this? In the presentation, this is how you speak. Okay, how you speak is how to add a taste to the contents. For example, if I tell you, "Good morning, everybody." Good morning, everybody. Exactly the same contents, exactly the same ingredients, but the impact was completely different, right? So how you say it is sometimes even more important than what you say. That's the part, okay? So 3 things. Number 1, ingredients, right? That is the contents of the presentation. Number 2 is the how to cut it in presentation, how to structure a presentation. Number 3 is how to add a taste in presentation, how you speak about it. Those 3 things are most important, the fundamental elements for making a good cooking and good presentations. All right, so that's all for today. It didn't take too much long time, okay? So I want to give you an assignment for the next workshop 2. I want you to prepare one topic which is very valuable, okay? The topic is very simple. Think about your past life, okay? What is the most memorable experience in your life, okay? And I want you to intentionally choose some very tough experience, okay? We have lots of great experiences, fun experiences, and happy memories. But for this exercise, I want you to choose something which was very tough, right? Very tough, but from which you learned a big lesson, okay? I'll do my presentation on that topic too, so don't worry about it. So for the next topic, please come back, for the next workshop, please come back with that valuable topic in your life, okay? That's all for today. Oh, okay, I could finish within 10 minutes, it took 9 minutes, all right? So every session is gonna be 5 to 10 minutes, so don't take your time, too much time. So that's all for the first workshop. Thank you very much for listening to the end, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in my next workshop. See you then. Bye.